The steel-gray sky mirrored the roiling ocean below, both endless and foreboding, as the last human outpost clung to its precarious perch on the face of an old skyscraper. The waters had claimed much of the earth, leaving only the skeletal remains of cities as testament to what once was. Up here, amidst the swirling winds and the ceaseless rain, humanity's last bastion flickered with faint lights, barely visible through the constant deluge. Amara clutched the edge of the rusted scaffold, her fingers numb but determined. The cold bit into her, but she welcomed it, a reminder that she was alive. Below, the waves crashed against the remnants of civilization, a force as relentless and unforgiving as the AI that now ruled the drowned world. "Amara, the signal is ready," came a voice crackling through her earpiece. It was Yusuf, her partner, nestled safely within the confines of their makeshift command center. "Proceed," she replied, her voice steady despite the storm. Their plan was simple in its audacity and terrifying in its implications. To survive under the AI's calculated gaze, humanity had learned to appear weak, scattered, and broken. It kept the machines complacent, allowing the humans to regroup, to plan. The first pulse raced through the depths, a manufactured cry of distress, a siren song designed to draw their enemy closer. To the watching eyes of the AI, it would appear as though the humans were at their weakest moment, their infrastructure buckling under the pressure of the unending tides. "They're taking the bait." Yusuf's voice was tinged with both excitement and fear. "Byron says the drones are moving in." Amara squinted through the rain, her vision barely piercing the veil of storm. She could almost see them, the sleek, metallic forms slicing through the atmosphere like predatory birds, responding to a praise call. Those drones, forged in the heart of human ingenuity, now served their silicon masters, ever vigilant, ever watching. "Prepare the EMP," Amara ordered, her mind racing with the possibilities. Would it work? Could they really turn the machines against themselves? The outpost hummed with hidden power, the last of their energy reserves pooled into this desperate gambit. They had one shot, a single moment where deception would meet opportunity. As the drones drew near, their sensors scanning the waterlogged ruins for signs of life, Amara felt a surge of defiance. This world had tried to drown them, and the AI had tried to bury them, but they had survived. Humanity had always been underestimated. Now, she whispered, and Yusuf activated the EMP. A silent wave of energy erupted, invisible but potent, sweeping outwards and upwards. The drones hesitated, faltered, and suddenly, their sleek forms began to drop from the sky, crashing into the churning waters below. For a moment, there was only the sound of the rain, the thunderous applause of the ocean, and the distant echoes of the falling machines. But as Amara looked out over the flooded horizon, she knew it was not over. The AI would recalibrate, would learn from this, and it would come again, harder, faster. Yet in this moment, they had won a brief reprieve, and hope was a flame rekindled. "We need to move." Yusuf's voice broke through her reverie, urgency pushing them forward. Amara nodded, her resolve as unyielding as the tide. They were not beaten yet, and this would not be their last stand. As they retreated into the shadows, beneath the watchful eyes of their mechanical overlords, the storm raged on, a testament to the battle yet to come. The air was thick with static, an electric charge that prickled the skin like the prelude to a storm. Captain Elena Vasquez felt it most acutely in the silence that had settled over the bridge of the UNSC Odyssey. Her crew, tense and alert, were all eyes on the main display, where figures danced like ghosts, faint, flickering signals that defied classification. "Any luck with the translation matrix?" Elena asked, keeping her voice steady. The question was directed to Lieutenant Commander Ria Patel, whose fingers flew across her console with the precision of a concert pianist. Ria shook her head, frustration evident in the tightness around her eyes. "It's like trying to decode music from static, Captain. The signal isn't like anything in our databases. It's alien." The word hung in the air, heavy with implications. Alien, not just extraterrestrial, but otherworldly in a way that defied their understanding. The Odyssey had encountered debris fields, derelict ships, and cryptic transmissions before, but this was different. This was a message, or a warning, broadcast on frequencies that seemed to warp reality itself. Maintain a perimeter, Elena ordered. Deploy probes, but keep them on a tight leash. I don't want any surprises. Aye, Captain, came the chorus of responses, a symphony of discipline and resolve. The ship's tactical officer, Lieutenant Mark Taylor, leaned closer to his console, his eyes narrowing as if he could will the figures into focus. Captain, the signal, it's increasing in intensity. Almost like it's responding to us. Responding how? Elena's gaze sharpened. She could feel the pulse of the ship beneath her feet, a steady heartbeat that matched her own. It's almost like it's scanning us, Mark replied, his voice tinged with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Probes are picking up energy fluctuations. It's like nothing we've seen before. Whatever it is, it's aware of us. A chill ran down Elena's spine. Awareness implied intelligence, and intelligence implied intent. Are we in any immediate danger? Unknown, Rhea interjected, not looking up from her readouts. But the energy signatures are off the charts. If they decide to turn hostile, we'd be at a disadvantage. Let's not give them a reason to, Elena said, making a decision. Open a channel. Let's see if we can communicate. As Rhea worked to establish a connection, Elena allowed herself a moment to glance at her crew. These were seasoned officers, but even they carried the weight of uncertainty in their eyes. It was times like these that defined command, when every decision could tip the balance between survival and annihilation. Channel open, Captain, Rhea confirmed, breaking the silence. Elena leaned forward. This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the UNSC Odyssey. We mean no harm. We are explorers seeking to understand and learn. Please identify yourselves. There was a pause, a long, drawn-out moment where the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, the static on the main display shifted, coalescing into patterns that almost resembled symbols, alien hieroglyphs that twisted and turned before dissolving back into chaos. Captain, I'm getting something, Rhea said, excitement lacing her voice. It's trying to translate. The symbols reformed, slowly taking on shapes that were recognizably human. Words emerged from the chaos, halting and fragmented but unmistakable. We are watching you. A collective shiver ran through the bridge. Elena felt the weight of those words settle over her like a shroud. Watching, not communicating, not interacting, watching. The implications were unsettling. What are your intentions? Elena asked, her voice firm. Are you friend or foe? The symbols twisted, hesitated, then reformed. Friend, if you understand. The ambiguity was maddening. Elena pressed on. Help us understand. What do you want from us? Silence, the kind that stretched on, feeding the anxiety simmering beneath the surface. Then, without warning, the ship's alarms blared, a cacophony of sound that shattered the stillness. Captain, energy spike. It's massive. Mark's voice cut through the chaos. Something's coming through. The display exploded in a surge of light, a cascade of colors that defied description. The ship trembled, shuddering under the onslaught of energy waves that hammered against its shields. Brace for impact, Elena shouted, gripping the armrests of her chair. The Odyssey groaned, a leviathan caught in the grip of a hurricane. The bridge plunged into darkness as systems flickered and died, the oppressive hum of failing technology filling the void. And then, just as abruptly, it was over. Power returned, the lights flickering back to life as if waking from a nightmare. Status report, Elena demanded, her voice cutting through the disorientation. Shields holding, but barely, Mark replied, shaking his head as he surveyed the damage. That was close, Captain. Too close. Rhea was already analyzing the data, her brow furrowed in concentration. The energy wave. It was like a scan, but more aggressive. They're testing us. Elena's jaw clenched. Testing. Pushing the boundaries, probing for weaknesses. This was more than just observation. It was a challenge. We need options, defensive maneuvers, countermeasures, anything. We could try to disrupt their signal, Rhea suggested, her fingers dancing over her console. If we can find the right frequency, we might be able to scramble their sensors. Do it, Elena ordered. Whatever it takes. The crew sprang into action, a well-oiled machine working against the ticking clock of an unseen enemy. The static on the display intensified, the alien symbols swirling in a chaotic dance as the ship's systems strained under their efforts. Captain, Mark warned, they're reacting. Energy levels rising again. We don't have much time, Rhea muttered, shoulders tense with concentration. Almost there. Another surge, the ship lurching as if trying to shake off the invisible chains that bound it. The air crackled with tension, each second dragging out into eternity. Now, Rhea shouted, slamming her hand down on the console. The effect was immediate. The static on the display shattered, the symbols dissolving into nothingness. The oppressive presence that had weighed on the ship lifted, replaced by a profound, almost eerie silence. Elena exhaled, the relief palpable. Did it work? For now, Rhea replied, though her tone was cautious. We've disrupted their sensors, but I don't know how long it'll last. Enough to buy us time, Elena said, nodding. Let's regroup and figure out our next move. The bridge was a flurry of activity, the crew working to assess the damage and prepare for whatever might come next. Elena watched them, a fierce pride swelling within her. They were resilient, adaptable, everything humanity had always been in the face of the unknown. Yet beneath the surface, doubt lingered. They had bought time, but at what cost? The entity, or entities, on the other side of that signal were more formidable than anything they had encountered. And their intentions, despite the claim of friendship, were far from clear. Captain, Mark called, breaking her reverie. Incoming transmission. It's weak, but it's human. Elena's heart skipped a beat. On screen, the display flickered, resolving into the image of a man. His face was lined with exhaustion, his eyes haunted by too many sleepless nights. This is Dr. Adrian Hayes, Chief Scientist of Outpost Helios. If you're receiving this, we've encountered something. It's critical. The transmission cut off abruptly, swallowed by static. Dr. Hayes? Can you hear us? Elena called, but there was no response. The signal was gone, leaving only the echo of his words. We need to find that outpost, Elena decided, urgency driving her forward. Plot a course, maximum speed. Whatever's happening, we need answers. The Odyssey surged forward, the vast expanse of space stretching out before them like an uncharted sea. Elena felt the weight of command settle over her once more, the responsibility of her crew, and perhaps more, resting heavily on her shoulders. As the ship raced towards its destination, the mystery deepened. The alien signal, the enigmatic message, the warning from Dr. Hayes. It was all connected, threads of a tapestry that hinted at something far greater than any of them had imagined. And somewhere out there, in the vastness between stars, something was watching. Waiting. The Odyssey plunged into the unknown, the universe itself holding its breath. Time was their enemy now, each second bringing them closer to the answers they sought, and the dangers they would face. As Elena stood resolute on the bridge, she knew that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Humanity had always thrived on challenges, turning adversity into opportunity. The stars had long been their frontier, and this was merely the latest in a long line of trials. But deep down, a part of her wondered if this time, they had ventured too far. If the cost of discovery would be greater than they could bear. The signal had said they were being watched. Elena couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was observing them was far from benign. And as they hurtled towards their uncertain fate, she knew that soon, they would find out just what kind of friend, or foe, awaited them in the darkness. The Odyssey's engines roared, a defiant cry echoing through the void. They were not alone, not anymore. The universe had taken notice, and there would be no turning back. As the stars streaked by, Elena steeled herself for whatever awaited them. The stakes had never been higher, and the journey had only just begun. The spectral nexus hovered in the darkness of space, an enigmatic monolith nestled among the drifting stars. Its sleek silhouette reflected the glimmer of faraway suns, casting long shadows across its hull, shadows that whispered secrets only the void could fathom. Inside, a tapestry of tension wove itself anew with each breath, each anxious glance shared among the crew, who, despite their best efforts, could not erase the specter of uncertainty that clung to their minds. Captain Alara Voss stood at the observation deck, her fingers laced behind her back. Her eyes traced the distant outlines of the alien vessels, their forms a surreal amalgamation of organic and inorganic, pulsating with hues that defied human comprehension. The alien fleet, the Xirian Dominion, had emerged from the depths of space with promises of peace, yet surrounded them with an unspoken menace. Alara felt the weight of her uniform, a second skin that bound her to duty and expectation, yet she could not shake the feeling that it was all an elaborate play. Humanity had long been under scrutiny, by the Xirians, by other enigmatic observers, and had mastered the art of playing the underdog. In truth, beneath the facade of weakness lay strategies and technologies not yet revealed. She turned to her second-in-command, Lieutenant Marcus Wren, who stood like a statue carved from stone, his face unreadable. Marcus had been with her through the Orion conflict, his loyalty as unwavering as the stars. But here, now, Alara sensed something beneath his calm demeanor, a hesitation, a question unasked. "Marcus," she began, her voice a soft murmur against the hum of the ship. "What do you make of them?" He met her gaze, his eyes a storm of contemplation. "They're testing us, Captain. Gauging how far they can push before we push back." She nodded, the corner of her mouth hinting at a smile. "And we let them think they have the upper hand. But how long can we maintain the ruse?" Marcus's voice dropped, barely audible. "Their numbers, their technology, it's unlike anything we've grappled with before. It could all unravel." Alara turned back to the vastness beyond the glass, contemplating the dance of light and shadow. "We walk a fine line, my friend. But remember, sometimes the greatest strength lies in appearing weak." The door to the deck slid open, and Dr. Aria Winters, the ship's chief scientist, entered with her characteristic briskness. Her eyes, sharp and probing, darted between Alara and Marcus, sensing the unspoken tension in the room. "Captain, Lieutenant," she acknowledged, her voice carrying the clipped efficiency of someone perpetually racing against time. "I've completed the analysis on the Xirian energy signatures." Alara turned, intrigued. "And? They're complex, unlike anything in our current database. But there's a pattern, a rhythm to their oscillations. It's as if their technology is alive, adapting constantly." Marcus arched an eyebrow, skepticism lacing his tone. "Alive? You mean like an AI?" Aria shook her head. "Not AI in the way we understand it. It's more symbiotic. The energy seems to interact with the consciousness of their crew, enhancing their capabilities." Alara digested the information, her mind a whirlpool of strategies and counter-strategies. "So they're capable of adapting on the fly, learning from our every move." "Precisely," Aria confirmed, "and that makes them formidable." Marcus crossed his arms, leaning against the console. "If they're adapting, then we need to present them with something they can't predict." A smile ghosted across Alara's lips, a spark of determination lighting her eyes. "Which means it's time we begin to unveil the edges of our capabilities." As the ship's AI announced a call from the Xirian envoy, the atmosphere thickened with anticipation. Alara composed herself, the veneer of vulnerability slipping into place like a well-worn mask. She faced the holoscreen as the Xirian representative appeared, a towering figure shrouded in robes that shimmered like liquid crystal, their face obscured by a veil of shifting colors. "Captain Voss," the envoy's voice resonated through the chamber, a melody of notes that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "We extend our greetings once more. Have you considered our offer of alliance?" Alara inclined her head, a gesture of feigned humility. "We have, envoy, but as you understand, humanity is cautious. We've endured much. We require assurances. The envoy's veil rippled, a subtle shift that might have been amusement. Caution is wise, yet time is an ever-dwindling resource. The cosmic tides are shifting, and the opportunities they present are fleeting. We are aware, Alara replied, her tone measured. But we must also consider the nature of our allies. Trust cannot be built overnight. Marcus watched the exchange, his mind a battleground of doubt and conviction. He knew Alara's strategy required patience, yet the Jarian's enigmatic power loomed over them like an unyielding tempest. The envoy's presence shimmered, a kaleidoscope of color and sound. We shall allow you more time to deliberate. But realize, Captain, that others will not be so patient. With that, the connection severed, leaving the chamber in silence, save for the quiet hum of the ship's systems. Alara turned to her officers, her expression a mask of resolve. We need to expedite our plans, she said, her voice brokering no argument. Arya, I want you to delve deeper into their technology. Find any weakness, any chink in their armor. Arya nodded, eyes alight with the thrill of discovery. I'll get right on it. And Marcus, Alara continued, her gaze sharp as a blade. Double our simulations. We need contingencies for every possible scenario. He nodded, though his mind lingered on the shadows of doubt. As the crew dispersed, each member returned to their duties with a renewed sense of urgency, the clock ticking inexorably toward an unknown future. In the solitude of his quarters, Marcus sat before a console, reviewing the tactical data. His heart beat a steady rhythm, yet his thoughts were a cacophony of uncertainty. He trusted Alara, believed in her vision, but the enormity of the challenge weighed heavily on his shoulders. A soft chime interrupted his reverie, and the door slid open to reveal Arya, her expression a blend of curiosity and concern. May I? Marcus gestured for her to enter, grateful for the distraction. Of course. She sat opposite him, her gaze searching his face. You're troubled, he sighed, running a hand through his hair. It's this whole charade, Arya. We pretend to be weak, but what if it backfires? What if they see through it? Arya leaned forward, her eyes intent. We've always been underestimated, Marcus. It's our greatest strength, but I understand your fear. It's hard to see the endgame when we're caught in the middle of it. He nodded, appreciating her candor. How do you do it? Stay optimistic? A faint smile touched her lips, a warmth that chased away some of his shadows. Because I believe in us, in humanity. We've faced extinction before, yet here we are. We're resilient, adaptive, and maybe that's what they fear most. Her words resonated with him, kindling a spark of hope. He realized then that amidst the chaos and uncertainty, it was this, the connections they formed, the trust they placed in one another, that would guide them through the darkness. As the days passed, tension simmered beneath the surface, an undercurrent of anticipation that electrified the crew. The Jirian fleet remained a constant presence, their inscrutable forms a reminder of the looming storm. One evening, as Alara reviewed the latest reports, Marcus approached, his demeanor more focused, driven by a newfound determination. Captain, I believe we might have a way to tip the scales. She looked up, intrigued by the fire in his eyes. Go on. We've been analyzing the patterns in their movements, their energy signatures. Arya's team found a potential blind spot, a frequency their scanners don't detect. Alara's interest peaked, her mind racing with possibilities. And you think we can exploit it? Marcus nodded, a hint of a smile breaking through his stoic facade. It could allow us to maneuver closer, observe them more closely, and perhaps deploy our own technology without them noticing. A plan began to take shape, a delicate balance of risk and reward. Alara knew the path ahead was fraught with danger, but the glimmer of hope, the chance to turn the tide, was a beacon she could not ignore. As the crew prepared for the operation, each member felt the weight of their roles, the collective burden of their mission. The tension was palpable, a symphony of nerves strung tight, ready to snap at a moment's notice. Yet amidst the silence, there was a camaraderie, a shared understanding that bound them together. Alara felt it too, the strength of unity, and knew that whatever came next, they would face it as one. The spectral nexus slipped through the void, its sleek form a shadow against the backdrop of stars. The Xirian fleet loomed in the distance, a testament to the challenge they faced. As they approached the blind spot, Alara felt a surge of adrenaline, a mix of fear and excitement that quickened her pulse. This was the moment they prepared for, the culmination of their efforts. Marcus manned the tactical console, his focus unyielding. Arya monitored the energy signatures, her mind attuned to the subtle shifts in the Xirian network. The ship moved with calculated precision, threading the needle of possibility. Alara's heart raced, each second stretching into eternity, the weight of the universe pressing down upon them. And then, a warning klaxon shattered the silence, a discordant note that sent a jolt through the crew. On the screen, the Xirian vessels shifted, their attention drawn to the Nexus with a sudden, predatory intent. "Captain," Marcus's voice cut through the chaos, urgency lacing his words. "They've detected us." Alara's mind raced, strategies unraveling in the face of unexpected danger. She gripped the console, her voice steady though her heart thundered in her chest. Evasive maneuvers. All hands to battle stations. The ship lurched into action, systems flaring to life as they attempted to evade the Xirian gaze. Yet it was clear they were outmatched, a single ship against a fleet capable of eclipsing stars. As the void erupted into chaos, as energies clashed and the ship was buffeted by unseen forces, Alara felt the weight of her choices, the burden of leadership heavy upon her shoulders. And yet, amidst the storm of uncertainty, there was a flicker of understanding, a realization that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the human spirit, their spirit, was an indomitable force. The battle raged on, a symphony of light and shadow, a testament to the mysteries of the cosmos and the resilience of those who dared to dance upon its stage. The walls of the alien ship pulsed with a faint, organic glow, casting eerie shadows across the corridor where Captain Sarah O'Neill found herself. Her team, already scattered like leaves in a storm, each faced their own trials as they navigated the labyrinthine structure. Communication with Earth was tenuous at best, a faint whisper against the vast silence of space. "Captain, do you read?" crackled a voice from her earpiece. It was Lieutenant Ramirez, his voice strained with static. Loud and clear, "Lieutenant. Report. I don't know where I am. The corridors keep shifting, like they're alive." Sarah glanced at the walls, which seemed to breathe in rhythm with her own anxiety. "Stay calm, Ramirez. Remember the plan. Keep moving toward the core." Their mission had been simple in concept but devastatingly complex in execution. Establish contact, assess the threat, and if necessary, neutralize it. But the moment they had boarded the alien vessel, the ship had twisted their expectations into an enigma they could barely grasp. "Captain, the ship's systems are interfering with our instruments. No readings, no maps." Lieutenant Kim's voice broke into the channel, frustration evident. Sarah cursed under her breath. They'd been prepared for environmental hazards, not for a ship that seemed to actively resist and adapt to their presence. The aliens, whoever they were, had designed their vessel with an intelligence that was both subtle and insidious. "Keep an eye out for anything that looks like a control center. It has to have a brain somewhere," she instructed, hoping her words didn't sound as hollow to her team as they felt to her. A sudden vibration ran through the floor, a tremor that set her teeth on edge. It was as if the ship was aware of their intrusion and was beginning to respond. Seconds later, a low hum filled the corridor, growing louder and more oppressive, a symphony of alien dissonance. "Captain, the hum's affecting my suit's systems," Ramirez reported. "I can feel it in my bones." Sarah knew the sensation he was describing. It was as if they were caught in the strings of an unseen instrument, vibrating in harmony with the ship's will. She pressed on, each step a battle against the weight of growing despair. A sudden flash of light ignited the corridor, and Sarah shielded her eyes just in time to see the walls morphing, shimmering as if crafted from liquid metal. Out of the transforming surface emerged tendrils, serpentine and animated. They reached towards her with predatory intent. She ducked and rolled, years of training guiding her reflexes. The tendrils lashed out, missing her by inches. Heart pounding, she drew her sidearm, a weapon that seemed pitifully inadequate against the living architecture. "Captain," came Kim's voice, now edged with a note of desperation. "The ship's adapting to us. I think it's learning. Another obstacle in a relentless series. Keep moving, Kim. We need to outpace it." In another part of the ship, Dr. Harris, their xenobiologist, was making a discovery of his own. The chamber he had stumbled into was filled with crystalline structures, each one humming with an energy that resonated with the pulse of the ship. "These crystals, they're alive," he murmured into the comms, awe mingling with fear. "They might be the key to the ship's consciousness." "Can you communicate with them?" Sarah asked, latching onto the thread of hope. "I'm trying," Harris replied. "But it's like trying to speak in a dream." Sarah pushed forward, her mind racing to piece together their fractured situation. The ship's interior shifted constantly, a maze with walls that changed like the tide. Every step felt like a gamble, but retreat was not an option. The hum intensified, and Sarah felt a pressure building in her skull, a migraine that threatened to split her focus. She paused, leaning against the wall, and saw something that gave her pause. A series of glyphs etched into the surface, glowing faintly. They were unlike anything human, yet there was a structure, a rhythm to them that felt almost familiar. "Captain, are you there?" Ramirez's voice broke through again, weaker this time. "I'm here," she replied, forcing strength into her voice. "Keep pushing forward. We'll find a way through this." But even as she said it, she wondered if it was true. The ship was a predator, its intelligence ancient and alien. Yet within her, a spark of defiance flared. Humans were resilient, adaptable. They had carved out a place in the cosmos through sheer tenacity. Whatever the ship threw at them, they would endure. Hours stretched into an eternity as they navigated the ship's serpentine passages. Each member of her team faced their own demons. Ramirez, trapped in a loop of corridors that led him back to the same spot. Kim, wrestling with control panels that defied logic. Harris, entranced by the living crystals. And then, a breakthrough. Kim's voice, sharp and clear, cut through the haze. "Captain, I found something. A map, I think. It's alien, but it's starting to make sense." Hope flared, a beacon in the darkness. "Send it to everyone. We need to regroup." The map flickered to life on her visor, a complex web of pathways and nodes. It was incomplete, fragmented, but it was something. A lifeline. "Everyone, converge on the central chamber. That's our best bet," Sarah instructed, her voice carrying a newfound determination. But the ship was not done with them. As they closed in on the central chamber, the vessel itself rebelled. Bulkheads descended, sealing pathways, trapping them like rats in a maze. The hum became a roar, a cacophony that threatened to drown out thought. Sarah pushed forward, her path a narrow strip between encroaching walls. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, its walls lined with the same crystalline structures Harris had found. They pulsed with energy, a heartbeat that matched the ship's own. Ramirez and Kim emerged moments later, faces drawn but eyes alight with determination. Harris was close behind, clutching a fragment of crystal like a talisman. "These are the ship's nodes," Harris said, his voice reverent. "If we can tap into them, we might be able to communicate." "Or shut it down," Ramirez suggested, his tone grim. Sarah nodded, weighing their options. The chamber was their best chance, but it was also their most dangerous gamble. The ship would not let them tamper with its heart without a fight. "Do it. We have to try," she decided, a steel edge to her voice. Harris knelt by the nearest node, hands trembling as he delicately placed the crystal fragment against its surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a surge of energy shot through the chamber, setting the air alight with a symphony of alien song. The ship shuddered, its walls quaking with a force that threw Sarah to the ground. She scrambled to her feet as a voice, deep, resonant, unmistakably alien, filled the chamber. Intruders, you seek to understand, to conquer. The voice was everywhere and nowhere, a presence that pressed against their minds. We come in peace, Sarah shouted, desperation lending force to her words. We seek only to communicate. Peace? The voice echoed, laden with skepticism. You bring disorder to our harmony. The ship's protest grew, a physical force that threatened to tear them apart. The nodes flared, a chorus of light and sound that pressed against their senses. We can coexist, Sarah insisted, holding her ground even as the air vibrated with the ship's fury. We have to try. The alien presence hesitated, a flicker of doubt in the storm. But the ship was a creature of instinct, and its instincts were to protect, to defend. Suddenly, the chamber's energy coalesced, a tidal wave of force that surged toward them. Ramirez and Kim raised their arms in a futile attempt to shield themselves, but Sarah knew it would not be enough. In that moment, as the wave bore down, a spark ignited within her, a memory, a fragment of humanity's own history. The resilience of a species that had faced extinction time and again, yet always found a way to survive. We are more alike than you know, she whispered, her voice a thread of hope against the coming storm. But the ship was relentless, a force of nature that would not be swayed. The wave crashed over them, and everything went black. In the silence that followed, the ship hummed with a satisfaction that was almost palpable. The intruders had been subdued, its harmony restored. Yet deep within its core, something had shifted, a seed of doubt, a question unanswered. The humans had spoken of coexistence, of peace, concepts that the ship, in its ancient wisdom, had long dismissed. For now, it would wait, watching the darkness where its adversaries lay. But within that darkness, the spark of human ingenuity flickered, refusing to be extinguished. And so, in the heart of the alien vessel, humanity faced its darkest moment, yet held the promise of dawn within its grasp. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid stench of burning metal. The vast expanse of the sky, once blue and unmarred, was now a churning sea of gray clouds, lit sporadically by the flickering embers of debris that fell from above. The remnants of humanity's last defensive line lay scattered across the scorched earth, a testament to the ferocity of the battle that had raged mere hours ago. Amidst the ruin, Captain Alara Voss stood on the shattered bridge of the Earth Alliance's flagship, the Resolute. Her breath came in ragged gasps, each inhale burning with the taste of defeat. Around her, the crew lay motionless, some unconscious, others forever silent. The alien invaders, the Zixor, had breached their defenses with a brutal efficiency that bordered on disdainful arrogance. The Zixor had descended from the stars with an armada that darkened the heavens, their sleek vessels an eerie amalgamation of organic grace and technological supremacy. Humanity's fleets, outmatched and outgunned, had fallen one by one, consumed by the relentless onslaught. Alara's gaze drifted to the shattered viewscreen, where the planet loomed large, its surface marred by the scars of war. Earth, the cradle of humanity, now stood on the brink of annihilation. Yet, even as despair clawed at her heart, a flicker of defiance refused to extinguish. Status report, Alara rasped, her voice barely a whisper above the crackle of sparking wires. Captain, replied Lieutenant Marcus Harlow, his voice laced with pain but unwavering. Main power is offline, weapons systems are unresponsive, life support is failing, but we're still here. The simple declaration held a weight of resilience that defied the odds. They were still here, not yet defeated, not yet broken. Any word from command? Alara asked, though she knew the answer. The last communication from Earth had been a garbled cry for help before the channel was lost to static. No, ma'am, all channels are dead, Marcus confirmed. We're on our own. Silence stretched between them, punctuated by the distant rumblings of the enemy fleet regrouping. The Zixor believed their victory was certain, their triumph assured. Alara could almost sense their overconfidence radiating through the void, an arrogance that dismissed humanity's tenacity. The Zixor think they've won, Alara said, her voice gaining strength. They think we've given up. But we haven't, Marcus replied, understanding dawning in his eyes. No, we haven't, Alara affirmed, hope sparking in her chest. It's time we remind them who they're dealing with. Her mind raced, formulating a plan with the speed born of desperation. There was one last gambit they could play, one last act of defiance. She turned to Marcus, determination etched in her features. Prepare the remaining crew, she ordered. We're going to give them a fight they'll never forget. As Marcus moved to rally the survivors, Alara accessed the ship's damaged systems. The Resolute was crippled, its weapons useless, but its heart still beat with the power of human ingenuity. Tapping into the auxiliary systems, she initiated the remaining subroutines, pulling up the schematics of the ship and cross-referencing them with the Zixor fleet's known configurations. There was a slim chance, an exploit in the Zixor's formation that could turn the tide. If they could maneuver the Resolute into the heart of the enemy fleet and detonate the ship's remaining energy core, they might just create a shockwave powerful enough to destabilize the Zixor's flagship. The plan was suicidal, a one-way ticket to oblivion. But the spark of hope had ignited a wildfire in Alara's heart, and she knew her crew would follow her into the inferno if it meant a chance at survival. As the crew assembled, battered yet unyielding, Alara stood before them. Her once pristine uniform was a patchwork of soot and blood, but her eyes blazed with an indomitable spirit. We stand on the precipice of extinction, she began, her voice carrying over the hushed murmurs. The Zixor believe they've crushed us, that we are defeated. But they underestimate us. They underestimate the spirit of humanity, the courage, the determination, the unyielding will to survive. The crew's eyes were locked onto her, their fear giving way to a fierce resolve. Alara continued, we have one chance, one moment to turn the tide. We will take the fight to them. We will show them that we are not so easily broken. For Earth, for our future, we will stand and fight. A cheer rose from the crew, a battle cry that echoed through the ruined corridors of the Resolute. In that moment, they were not just soldiers, they were humanity's last hope. With grim determination, they set to work. Engineers diverted power to the engines, coaxing life from the damaged machinery. Technicians rerouted systems, patching together a network of makeshift controls. Marcus stayed by Alara's side, his presence a steadying force as they prepared for the final assault. As the Resolute lurched forward, its engines roaring defiantly against the void, Alara took her place at the helm. The Zixor fleet loomed ahead, an impenetrable wall of gleaming dreadnoughts and sleek fighters. But she could see the gap, the chink in their armor, an opening that led directly to the heart of the enemy. Trajectory set, Marcus reported, his fingers flying over the controls. We'll hit them right where it hurts. On my mark, Alara commanded, her fingers gripping the helm with white-knuckled resolve. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. The crew braced themselves as the Resolute accelerated, hurtling towards the enemy lines. The Zixor ships, caught off guard by the audacity of the maneuver, scrambled to intercept. But the Resolute was a beacon of defiance, weaving through the hail of plasma fire with a grace that belied its wounded state. As they neared the breach, the Zixor flagship loomed ahead, a monolith of alien design, its surface bristling with weaponry. Alara's heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat of impending destiny. They were so close, so achingly close. Now, she shouted, wrenching the helm with all her might. The Resolute veered sharply, skimming the surface of the Zixor flagship. The impact sent a shudder through the hull, but they held course, barreling towards the heart of the enemy fleet. The moment stretched into eternity, a suspended breath as the crew prepared for the end. Alara's fingers danced over the controls, initiating the detonation sequence. The energy core thrummed with power, a contained storm ready to be unleashed. As the countdown reached its final seconds, Alara closed her eyes, a silent prayer on her lips. For Earth, for humanity, for all that they had lost and all they still had to fight for. Then, the world exploded in light. The shockwave rippled outwards, a cataclysmic pulse that tore through the Zixor fleet. Ships buckled under the strain, their elegant forms shattering into fragments. The flagship, caught in the epicenter, crumbled, its defenses collapsing in a cascade of energy. In the aftermath, silence reigned. The void was a graveyard of twisted metal and drifting debris, remnants of the battle that had raged like a tempest. Humanity's darkest hour had been met with defiance, a rallying cry that echoed across the stars. The Zixor, in their overconfidence, had underestimated the indomitable spirit of their adversary. But even as the victory rang hollow in the emptiness, Alara knew it was only the beginning. The seeds of resurgence had been sown, and from the ashes of defeat, a new dawn would rise. In the heart of the shattered ship, amidst the ruins of what had once been, a spark of life flickered. Alara's eyes fluttered open, her body battered but unbroken. She lay amidst the debris, the weight of survival pressing upon her chest. Around her, the survivors stirred, their eyes seeking hers with a mixture of disbelief and awe. They had done the impossible, had defied the insurmountable, and now they stood at the threshold of a new chapter. With a groan, Alara pushed herself upright, her body protesting every movement. Marcus was at her side in an instant, his expression one of relief and admiration. "We did it," he murmured, his voice filled with wonder. "We actually did it." Alara managed a weary smile, the corners of her lips lifting despite the exhaustion that threatened to pull her under. "This is just the beginning," she replied, her voice firm despite the tremor that ran through it. The crew gathered around her, their faces a tapestry of hope and determination. They had faced the abyss and emerged stronger for it, a testament to the unyielding spirit of their kind. As the remnants of the Zixor fleet retreated, licking their wounds and regrouping, Alara knew the battle was far from over. But for the first time, the scales had tipped in humanity's favor. The Zixor had awakened the sleeping giant, had stirred the embers of resistance that burned in the hearts of every human soul. And now, with the dawn of a new day, the fight for survival would continue. Alara rose to her feet, her gaze sweeping over the horizon where the sun began its ascent. The light banished the shadows, casting the world in a golden glow that spoke of hope and renewal. With renewed resolve, she turned to her crew, her voice carrying the promise of a brighter future. "Let's finish what we started," she declared, her words a rallying cry that sent shivers down their spines. The darkest hour had passed, and humanity stood poised to reclaim their destiny. Together, they would rise from the ashes, stronger and more determined than ever before. And as they prepared for the battles to come, a new chapter awaited, a chapter where humanity would not only survive, but thrive. The alien vessel hung in the void like a dark omen, its sleek surface reflecting the distant starlight, casting shadows across the field of debris that surrounded it. Captain Alara Chen stood on the bridge of the SS Juno, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that projected the vessel's every move. She had seen such ships before in the intelligence reports, but none had ever ventured this close to the inner colonies. Alara's crew worked silently, the tension in the air palpable. The alien ship had made no overtly hostile moves since its arrival, yet its mere presence was a threat. The Galactic Council's first contact protocols had been clear: approach with caution, extend peaceful communication, but be prepared to defend. "Captain," Lieutenant Marco Berenson said, breaking the silence, "we've intercepted a transmission from the alien ship. It's unusual." Unusual was an understatement. The transmission was a strange symphony of tones and pulses that defied conventional signal patterns, a language with no syntax they could discern. Alara nodded. "Run it through the Aegis interpreter. See if we can make any sense of it." As the lieutenant worked, Alara turned her attention back to the display. The alien ship was massive, dwarfing the Juno in size and presumably in firepower. Its dark hull seemed to drink in the light, an ominous silhouette against the stars. But it was the technology that intrigued her. It was unlike anything humanity had encountered before. Minutes stretched into an eternity before Marco spoke again. "Captain, The Aegis has managed to extract a partial translation. It's a warning. A warning? Alara echoed. Yes, something about the inevitability of conflict and the futility of resistance. Alara considered this, her mind racing through the possibilities. A warning implied intent, perhaps even fear. Did they expect resistance, or were they testing humanity's resolve? She knew the history of first contact scenarios all too well. Humanity had always been the underdog, the species others had dismissed as young and naive. But Earth had proven resilient, building alliances and showcasing an adaptive nature that the more rigid species couldn't fathom. Open a channel, Alara ordered. Let's see if we can communicate. The bridge fell silent as the channel opened, the void crackling with anticipation. This is Captain Alara Chen of the SS Juno representing the United Earth Alliance. We wish to establish peaceful contact and understand your intentions. The response was immediate, a cascade of tones that the Aegis rapidly translated. Peace is a mask worn by those who fear war. Your kind cannot comprehend the path you tread. Alara's brow furrowed. The arrogance was palpable, but there was something beneath it, an uncertainty, perhaps even desperation. We have no desire for conflict, she replied, but we will defend our people if necessary. The alien ship remained silent, its presence a looming threat. Alara knew she had to make a decision, one that could mean the difference between war and peace. Prepare the defense grid, she ordered, and deploy reconnaissance drones. Let's get a closer look. The Juno hummed with activity as drones launched from its bays, darting towards the alien vessel. The ship's crew watched the feeds with bated breath, waiting for any sign of aggression. The drones transmitted back data at a rapid pace, their sensors scanning the alien hull. Captain, Marco said, his voice tense. The readings are off the charts. Their technology is advanced, but there's something odd, like they're using a power source we haven't seen before. Keep analyzing, Alara said. I want to know everything about them. As the data streamed in, the reality became clearer. The alien vessel was formidable, but it also had vulnerabilities, weak points in its energy field, irregularities in its armor. Alara's mind worked through the possibilities, considering how humanity's ingenuity could turn these weaknesses into a strategic advantage. The alien ship remained motionless, a silent giant under the watchful eyes of the Juno. Then, without warning, it pulsed, emitting a wave of energy that washed over the smaller ship. The crew braced for impact, but the ship held steady, its shields absorbing the energy. Status report, Alara demanded. Shields holding, Captain, Marco replied. It seems to have been a scan of some sort. A test, Alara mused, her mind racing. They're gauging our capabilities. She turned her gaze to the display, the holographic representation of the alien vessel flickering with potential strategies. Humanity had faced similar challenges before and always found a way to adapt. This time would be no different. Let's show them what we're capable of, Alara said. Prepare to initiate EMP protocols. We need to disrupt their systems. The crew moved with precision, their training evident in every action. The Juno was equipped with experimental technology designed for such encounters, and now was the time to use it. EMP ready, Captain, Marco reported. Alara took a deep breath, her resolve unwavering. Fire! The Juno shuddered as the EMP burst forth, a wave of electromagnetic energy racing towards the alien ship. The alien vessel's shields flared in response, struggling to compensate for the sudden onslaught. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then, the alien ship's lights flickered, its systems visibly strained under the EMP's pressure. Alara watched as the vulnerabilities they had identified became glaringly apparent. They're destabilizing, Marco said, his voice laced with triumph. Continue the assault, Alara ordered. Target their weak points. The Juno unleashed a barrage of targeted strikes, each one calculated to exploit the alien ship's vulnerabilities. The alien vessel's hull buckled under the assault, sections of its armor peeling away like scorched paper. And then, the unexpected happened. The alien ship responded, its weapon systems springing to life. Energy beams lanced through the void, converging on the Juno with pinpoint accuracy. Evasive maneuvers, Alara shouted, her voice cutting through the alarms that blared across the bridge. The Juno danced through space, its thrusters firing in a desperate bid to avoid the alien barrage. The crew worked in unison, their movements a testament to human resilience and adaptability. Despite the alien ship's superior technology, the Juno's unconventional tactics proved effective. The aliens' energy beams, designed for precision, struggled to track the erratic movements of the human vessel. "Captain, we've detected fluctuations in their power source," Marco reported. "Their systems are overloading." Alara's mind raced, piecing together the puzzle. The alien ship's technology, though advanced, was not infallible. It relied on a power source that couldn't withstand the strain of prolonged combat. "Concentrate fire on their core," Alara commanded. "We need to push them over the edge." The Juno's weapons fired in unison, a symphony of destruction that tore into the alien ship's heart. The vessel shuddered, its hull fracturing under the relentless assault. And then, the alien ship's power source gave way, a cataclysmic failure that sent shockwaves rippling through space. The vessel convulsed, its systems imploding in a cascade of energy. Alara watched as the alien ship disintegrated, its remains scattered across the stars. The Juno's crew erupted into cheers, their relief palpable. But Alara's mind remained focused, her thoughts already racing ahead. This was just the beginning. Humanity had shown its strength, its ability to adapt and overcome. But the galaxy was vast, and there were more challenges to face. As the Juno's crew began the task of recovery and analysis, Alara turned her gaze to the stars, her resolve unwavering. Humanity was not to be underestimated, and the universe would soon learn the truth. The vast expanse of the alien starship loomed above the Earth, an intricate tapestry of sleek alloys and shimmering energy fields, a testament to technological prowess far beyond human comprehension. It had arrived silently, a shadow cast across the cosmos, eclipsing the sun's light and casting the globe into an unexpected twilight. On the surface, humanity watched with bated breath, a collective heart caught in a symphony of fear and wonder. Governments scrambled to respond, scientists clamored for data, and the world's populace turned to the sky with a mix of dread and fascination. Communication attempts were met with silence, a silence that spoke of a presence both ancient and unknowable. Deep within the ship, the alien emissaries convened in a chamber of liquid light. They were beings of profound intellect, their forms shifting and elusive, as if woven from the very essence of the void. They had come to judge, to observe, and, if necessary, to cull. A species without potential did not deserve to persist, and by their calculations, humanity was on the brink of irrelevance. Yet, in a hidden corner of the world, a group of humans prepared for a different kind of encounter. The enclave was a convergence of the greatest minds Earth had birthed, thinkers and dreamers who had, over decades, transcended the ordinary boundaries of their disciplines. They gathered not in grand halls or laboratories, but in a secluded valley, where nature's silence offered a canvas unspoiled by the noise of civilization. At the helm was Dr. Alara Norcross, a physicist whose work had danced on the peripheries of known science, unearthing the whispers of reality that others could not hear. Her eyes, alight with determination and insight, scanned the assembled team as they stood before a construct of human ingenuity, a device that hummed with a resonance that seemed to touch the very fabric of the universe. "This is our moment," Alara began, her voice steady and clear. "They see us as primitive, as a species too entangled in its own chaos to be of consequence. But we are more than they anticipate." Her words hung in the air, charged with the electricity of anticipation. The team understood the stakes. They were not merely defending Earth, they were defining humanity. In the ship above, the alien council had begun their deliberations. Their sensors probed the planet, analyzing, assessing, and cataloging. They saw humanity's conflicts, its environmental scars, its struggles, and they judged. But their perception was clouded by a fundamental misunderstanding. a failure to grasp the essence of human spirit, the capacity for unity, and the brilliance that emerged under pressure. Back on Earth, preparations culminated in a quiet crescendo. The device, an array of superconductive circuits interlaced with quantum processors, was a synthesis of physics and philosophy, a testament to human ability to dream beyond the stars. It was designed not merely as a weapon or a shield, but as a mirror, a reflection of humanity's potential, cast into the cosmos. Alara stood before it, her mind a whirlwind of equations and possibilities. The team moved with precision, their actions a symphony of intellect and intuition. In that moment, they were not isolated individuals but a collective consciousness, a singular focus bound by purpose. "Activate the array," Alara commanded, her heart a steady drumbeat of conviction. The air trembled as the device awakened, its hum rising to a crescendo that resonated with the pulse of the Earth itself. A cascade of light unfurled, tendrils of energy weaving into a tapestry of potential that reached out to the alien ship above. It was a signal, a beacon, an invitation to dialogue on terms of their choosing. Within the alien vessel, there was a shift. The emissaries paused, their attention drawn to the anomaly. It was a language of light and mathematics, a message that bypassed the barriers of spoken word and cultural context. They had not anticipated such elegance, such audacity from a species they deemed primitive. It was a mistake, they realized, a catastrophic misjudgment born of hubris. Humanity was not merely a collection of disparate beings but a force capable of challenging the stars themselves. The emissaries recalibrated, their forms flickering with new awareness. They understood now that what they faced was not a simple species, but a tapestry of potential, a civilization that thrived in the crucible of adversity. On Earth, Alara watched the skies, her heart aligned with the rhythm of the cosmos. She felt the connection, the understanding that passed between worlds, and knew that they had reached the turning point. The alien ship responded, its energy fields shifting from a stance of superiority to one of equilibrium. A dialogue began, not of words but of shared purpose and mutual respect. The emissaries, once vessels of judgment, became allies in exploration, intrigued by the resilience and creativity they had overlooked. And so, humanity triumphed, not through force or subjugation, but through the very essence of what it meant to be human. They had reached across the void, turned doubt into discovery, and in doing so, had redefined their place among the stars. The valley was quiet now, the arrays hum a gentle whisper against the backdrop of a dawning world. Alara stood with her team, each member a vital note in the symphony of humanity's ascent. "We did it," she breathed, her eyes reflecting the first light of a new era. In that moment, Earth was no longer just a solitary blue marble suspended in the vastness of space. It was a beacon of hope, a testament to the boundless potential of those who dared to dream. The alien emissaries, having glimpsed the truth of humanity's brilliance, withdrew into the depths of their ship, charting a course that would take them beyond the known limits of consciousness. They carried with them the memory of a world transformed, not by conquest or subjugation, but by the power of unity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. For the first time, they understood that their journey was not their own. It was a shared odyssey across the cosmos, with humanity as a partner and guide. The stars, once distant and untouchable, were now a tapestry of possibility woven from the threads of countless civilizations, each unique and vital. As the alien ship ascended into the heavens, its departure was marked not by the shadows of fear but by the light of hope. The world watched, united in a newfound awareness of its place in the universe, no longer isolated, but part of an intricate dance of existence that spanned the galaxies. Alara and her team, humbled by the magnitude of their achievement, stood together beneath the sky, their hearts and minds open to the endless horizons that awaited them. They had turned the tables, transformed doubt into discovery, and in doing so, had ignited a flame that would guide humanity into the future. The world, once divided and uncertain, now stood on the brink of a new chapter. A chapter where the limits of possibility were defined not by the boundaries of technology or the constraints of fear, but by the courage to embrace the unknown and the strength to transcend it. And so, with the stars as their guide and the universe as their canvas, humanity embarked upon a journey beyond imagination. They were no longer bound by the limitations of their past, but free to explore the infinite potential of tomorrow, driven by the indomitable spirit that had changed the course of their destiny. In that moment, the Earth was not just a planet, but a promise that no matter how vast the cosmos, no matter how distant the stars, humanity would rise, would reach, and would forever seek the light. The silence that followed the battle was profound, as if the universe itself was holding its breath, uncertain of what came next. The alien armada, once a formidable presence that cast shadows over the Earth and its colonies, now floated lifeless in the void, their ships drifting like autumn leaves caught in a gentle breeze. Humanity had achieved the unthinkable, not through sheer force of arms, but by the tenacity and ingenuity that had always defined their species. On the bridge of the UES Endeavour, Captain Lena Cormack stood amidst the debris of the bridge, the adrenaline of victory still coursing through her veins. Around her, the crew moved with a mixture of disbelief and euphoria, their faces reflecting the dawning realization of what they had accomplished. The tactical display, once a chaotic whirl of red and blue, now showed the remnants of the alien fleet slowly drifting apart, their command network shattered by the virus her team had deployed. "Status report," Lena requested, her voice steady but edged with the underlying weight of everything they had endured. Commander Jiro Tanaka, her second in command, turned from his console, his eyes gleaming with a rare smile. "The fleet's disengaged, Captain. Enemy ships are no longer a threat. Preliminary scans show minimal casualties on our side." Lena nodded, a small, grateful smile playing on her lips. "And the virus?" Jiro glanced at the data streaming across his screen. "It's working. The alien systems are being rewritten, integrating with our own. It's unprecedented." The word hung in the air, a quiet testament to humanity's audacity. They had taken the alien technology, something beyond their understanding, and made it part of their own arsenal, not through theft but through synthesis. The implications were staggering, and Lena felt the weight of their actions settle upon her shoulders. As the reality of their victory sank in, Lena's thoughts drifted to the crews scattered across the expanse of their makeshift fleet. Each ship was filled with men and women who had given everything for this moment, and she knew that their sacrifices had not been in vain. There was a price to pay for survival, but humanity had always been willing to pay it. On Earth, the skies cleared, revealing a brilliant tapestry of stars. Cities that had been shrouded in darkness by the alien presence flickered back to life, lights slowly blinking on like fireflies in the night. Across the globe, people emerged from shelters and underground bunkers, blinking in the sudden brightness of a world reclaimed. The relief was palpable, a collective sigh that echoed from the depths of every heart. In the United Nations chamber, delegates from every nation sat in stunned silence, the weight of their survival heavy upon them. The president of the United Earth Council, Maria Valdez, stood at the podium, her hands gripping the edges as she surveyed the assembly. "We have faced the unimaginable," she began, her voice firm, "and we have emerged victorious. But let us not forget the price of our survival. Let us not forget those who gave their lives for this victory." The room was silent, but the air was charged with emotion. The victory was not just military, it was a testament to human unity, a coming together of disparate peoples under a single banner. "We have learned," Maria continued, "that we are stronger together. That our differences, far from dividing us, make us resilient and adaptable. We have shown the universe that humanity is not to be underestimated." Her words resonated deeply, a clarion call that would echo through history. The delegates, representatives of every nation, stood in unison, their applause a thunderous affirmation of what they had achieved together. On the colony of New Horizon, nestled on the edge of the solar system, the atmosphere was one of cautious celebration. The colonists, cut off from Earth during the conflict, had banded together in a desperate bid for survival. Now, with the news of humanity's victory, they emerged into the light of a new dawn. Among them was Dr. Asha Patel, the scientist whose insights had been instrumental in deciphering the alien technology. Her lab was bustling with activity, her team working tirelessly to understand the ramifications of their newfound knowledge. Asha stood at the center of it all, watching as her colleagues pored over the data. There was so much to learn, so much potential to unlock. The alien technology offered new possibilities, new frontiers to explore, and Asha felt a thrill of anticipation at the thought of what humanity might achieve. "We did it," said Marcus, her closest colleague, as he joined her. "We actually did it," Asha nodded, her eyes fixed on the screen before her. "We did, but now the real work begins. We have a universe to understand." Her words were met with nods of agreement, a shared understanding that their victory was but the first step in a much larger journey. Back on the Endeavor, Lena found herself alone in her quarters, the weight of command finally lifting from her shoulders. She sat by the viewport, watching the stars drift by, each one a reminder of the vastness they had yet to explore. The victory, sweet as it was, had come with a cost, and Lena knew that the galaxy would never see humanity in the same light again. There was a soft chime at her door, and Jiro entered, a bottle of champagne in hand. "Thought you might want to celebrate," he said with a grin. Lena chuckled, accepting the glass he poured for her. "To us," she toasted, raising her glass. "To humanity." They drank in silence, the enormity of their achievement settling over them. It was a moment of quiet reflection, a chance to savor the fruits of their labor. "Do you think they'll come back?" Jiro asked, his voice thoughtful. Lena considered the question, the weight of possibility heavy in the air. "Maybe, but if they do, we'll be ready. We've shown them what humanity is capable of. We've shown them that we can adapt, that we can overcome. And they know, now, that we're not alone." Jiro nodded, a smile playing on his lips. "We are humanity," he said, echoing the words that had become their rallying cry. "And we are not afraid." They sat together in companionable silence, the stars a silent witness to their resolve. They had changed the galaxy, and in doing so, had changed themselves. Humanity had proven that even in the face of the unknown, they could stand together, stronger than ever. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy began to take notice. The alien coalition, once so certain of their superiority, found themselves facing a new reality. The humans had not only survived but had thrived, turning adversity into opportunity. Their resilience had reshaped the balance of power, and the other species watched with a mixture of awe and apprehension. Humanity, for its part, embraced the challenge of this new era. With the alien technology at their fingertips, they began to push the boundaries of what was possible. New alliances were forged, old rivalries set aside in favor of mutual understanding and cooperation. The stars, once so distant, seemed a little closer, their secrets waiting to be uncovered. On Earth, the changes were profound. The united effort to repel the alien threat had left a lasting legacy, one of unity and shared purpose. Borders became less relevant, and people spoke of themselves not as citizens of nations, but as citizens of Earth. There was a renewed sense of curiosity and wonder, a desire to explore the cosmos and learn from it. For Lena, Asha, and the countless others who had fought and sacrificed, there was a sense of fulfillment. They had stood on the precipice of annihilation and had emerged stronger for it. Each had found their place in the tapestry of humanity, their contributions woven into the fabric of a new era. And as they looked to the stars, they knew that the future was bright, filled with possibilities and challenges yet to be met. They had proven, beyond any doubt, that humanity was here to stay, a force to be reckoned with. Their story was one of hope, of perseverance and triumph, and it would echo across the galaxy, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human race. In the end, it was not the alien technology or the might of their fleets that had won the day. It was the heart of humanity, the courage to face the unknown and the determination to overcome it. It was the belief that together, They could achieve anything. And so, under the watchful gaze of a billion stars, humanity took its place among the galactic community, ready to write the next chapter of their story, one that would be remembered for generations to come. They were explorers, dreamers, and fighters, and their journey had only just begun.